Well, hello, all you douche canoe, meme god, camp disclosure campers. We gotta think of a new name for our tribe, peeps. But anyway, I wanted to come and bring you a video that I promised, talking to you all about silver in particular, and kind of give you the 101 ins and outs of investing in gold and silver and just precious metals and what that means, how do you do that, and all that good stuff. So I've taken really the last several months, it was maybe late July, early August, learning about silver in particular. And I feel like almost it was by the universe or a divine kind of unfoldment of learning about this and having this come across my path. And that actually kind of learning about this also saved me from more heartache when my Facebook page was deleted. So if you watch my other videos, I kind of talked a little bit more about that and kind of the process in my journey. But today's video, I just wanted to go over kind of what is a crash course in terms of investing in silver and what that means and how you can all do this. And it's really easier than most people think. It's a little intimidating. I really had no experience or quite frankly desire to learn much about investing for most of my life. And there were a few channels that I came across this summer during that time period that I just mentioned where it felt to me like for the first time, investing makes sense. And it's not only easy, but actually fun, believe it or not. So my hope in this video is that I can share with you some things that make sense, make it easy and accessible. And, you want to do this sooner rather than later. So I am not one to really push dates on anything. But I feel like we are getting towards the end of kind of this sweet spot time period where you can invest and get a really good locked in rate for silver in particular. So, of course, I want to start off with a little bit of a caveat. So obviously, I'm not a financial investor and I can't give any formal advice to anybody. So this is just kind of my opinion, educational purposes only and all that good stuff. But what I'm sharing with you is put together a lot of tabs, so you might hear my computer kind of starting to smoke a little bit. But I'll put the majority of the solid links that I really want to emphasize in the description box after I finish this, so you can have easy access to those. What else do I want to say right now? Yeah, so this is kind of the culmination of several months worth of time of me just kind of going down very, very deep into the rabbit hole. And, as a lot of us do, when we learn about something, we just kind of dig deep. So I'm very excited to come and share all of this with you. Okay, so without further ado, let's kind of launch in here. So let's give a backstory a little bit in terms of rationale and why this is so important. So when we look at some of the big wigs in terms of investing, one of the things that we want to keep in mind is to follow what they do and not just what they say. So Ray Dalio, for example, is a huge hedge fund like kingpin type guy. And so for a long time, he's given a lot of very, for the most part, sound advice in terms of investing and what that should look like for people. And he was saying he kind of really poo-pooed precious metals. He was saying, if I remember correctly, something like 5 or 10% should go into your metals portfolio, but really nothing more than that. And then, so again, we want to look at what people say and not what they do. So recently, a couple months ago, I think this was August, that he poured $500 million into gold. So that's a big deal. That's a lot of money. That is like something like 20 to 30% of his own portfolio. So again, just kind of further evidence that we want to pay attention to what these big name people are doing. So he's known for saying cash is trash. And now he's kind of changing his tune and he's saying, yeah, it's probably a good thing if you hold on to some gold. But he kind of downplayed the extent that we should have in terms of gold. I mean, every good financial manager, if you're looking at kind of a well-rounded portfolio for investing, will say that you want a little bit of gold and or silver just because it's a tangible asset. It's something that you can hold in your hand. It's a hedge against inflation, and it's just kind of smart. But they've generally, the percentage is pretty low. And one of the main reasons is most of the financial advisors that you go to don't really make a profit, if at all, on metals. And so their training as well as their incentive to teach you about investing in metal isn't going to be that high. So this is why it's so important that we do our own homework and not just listen to any particular financial advisor, just my opinion. Okay, so again, there's a lot of talk, I'll go into this later, about how there's an impending crash that could be happening at some point. So, we'll just have to wait and see. I'm not a doom and gloom person, as you know, but if there is a crash that does happen, I'm telling you guys, like, metals are the place to be, because there's several different versions in terms of how this crash could occur. But if they try to, after COVID, try to tank the economy again, which there's talk of that happening soon, very, very soon, as early as tomorrow. So today, for reference, is, Sunday the 18th. And I'll talk more about this in a few minutes. But, you want to get on this before that happens, because if a crash does happen, then metals is going to absolutely skyrocket. And you will never see prices this low ever again. So that's kind of why there's been a push the past few months to really kind of change some of your assets into metals. Okay, what else do I want to say? So one point I really want to emphasize here is that please note you are not buying silver or metals, okay? That this isn't some sort of like a stock, that you want to purchase. That what you're doing is you are transferring your wealth. Okay, that's a really, really, really important point. That there are pretty much no downsides to investing. We use the word investing in metals. Primarily, I'm going to be talking about silver when I say metals, but there's palladium, there's copper, there's gold, there's silver. There's a bunch of different, types of metals out there, precious metals. But I'm just going to be talking about silver right now. And the reason why, again, I'll go into all this more in depth in a few minutes, but the silver has been extremely undervalued. So think about holding a beach ball underwater, that once the true value of these metals comes out, you are going to see silver explode like nothing else. In fact, again, I'll go into this in a few minutes, but like all these big name people, like I'm mentioning here, but others too, are really kind of going into metals right now because they see the writing on the wall. Just the other day, China is investing a lot into metals. They are the number one investor for JP Morgan, and they just purchased a lot more silver and gold. So, just things to be paying attention to, right? You want to always watch what these big boys are doing. So again, takeaway message from this point is that you're not buying silver. You are transferring your wealth into a tangible asset to hedge against inflation. So I would get questions as I was kind of preparing for this from folks of like, well, how do I convince my husband? Or, how do I talk to others, my mom or whomever, in terms of like investing in this? And again, it's very different from like a stock, right? So if you take money and you invest in a stock, you could lose it all within a few minutes, technically, right? And so you have nothing to show for it. You lose your entire shirt. Whereas if you invest in metal, you will always hold that metal. So that's why this is so important. And we'll talk about like ETFs, which is kind of an online version of buying silver, like through the stock market, and why that is not a good idea. So, I've heard a lot of stories from the videos that I've been watching of how families are really starting to get involved with this. So this is a great way to talk to your kids about investing, is to go to the coin store, have them do chores, pay them, et cetera, and then they can transfer the money that they would into savings by purchasing silver, like coins, or we'll talk all about the different types of ways you can invest in silver. But kids absolutely love this. When I was a kid, I loved collecting coins. My grandfather had a coin collection, and so during COVID, I've found that and started adding to it by just going to my local coin stores. And it's great. It makes you feel good because, you're not just kind of buying things or, I'll use the word loosely, but like wasting your money in terms of buying things that like won't hold their value. Okay. That's not really an asset. That it depreciates, in value over time. Like if you were to buy, I don't know, a new cell phone or whatever, that it's a transfer, and it's cool because it's coins, right? So it's kind of a win-win there. But silver is going to go up because of Trump's trade deal, the MCA deal. Okay, we're having a lot of jobs come back to the States, and a lot of this is going to be in medical equipment, in different types of infrastructure, okay, with cell phones and all those sorts of things. Like silver is a common golden thread in all of this because it's in everything. You guys, it's in everything. And, California, by next year, they're going to require, I heard, that you have solar panels. Well, guess what's in solar panels? Silver. So the need for silver is just going to explode, which of course is going to make the value go up. And if we go back to a gold-backed dollar, which I'll talk more about later, then guess what is highly attached to the cost or the value of gold? You guessed it, silver, by something like 70, 80, 90%. So it echoes wherever gold is in terms of the ratio. Okay, so when gold goes up, silver goes up. When gold goes down, silver goes down. Now it's a different percentage, but it follows or mimics or mirrors one another. So if you go back to a gold-backed dollar and the price of gold skyrockets, guess what's going to happen to silver? Okay, so that's kind of some rationale here. So, Ray is kind of predicting that there's going to be a paradigm shift for all these global markets that's happening. And of course, another big name that we all know is Warren Buffett. And he has been a long proponent of poo-pooing gold for decades. He's called it boring, and he doesn't really like to invest in it because it doesn't really go anywhere. But guess what he just did back in August? Okay, well, again, pay attention to what they do and not what they say. Okay, so he's not been a fan, but he ended up investing 21 million shares, okay, of a gold mining stock, Barrick Gold. Conversion to gold. Okay, so again, we want to just be paying attention to all of this. So if you are going to invest in the stock market, so the top three things that I'm hearing about to invest in, right? Because that's what this video is about. If you don't have any money to invest in all, then this video might not be for you, okay? But investing is kind of a different term than what we have thought of in the past. Usually people think of, oh, well, I need to have a lot of money to invest. No, start small, with whatever paycheck you have. I'll talk about another YouTuber who has encouraged his subscribers to get a second job, especially during COVID, and all the money of that second job that you would be, instead of you're just kind of pooping around, you invest that into metals. Okay. So number one investment is silver. Okay. Number two right now is gold, and number three is crypto. And I'm going to be recording a video here soon with Margaret, who is a resident expert, quote unquote, in terms of crypto and all the different types of cryptocurrencies that are out there, what to invest in, and how to do all that. So be looking forward for that sometime soon. Okay. So if you are going to invest in the stock market, my recommendation would be to look at junior mining stocks. So start learning about junior mining stocks and what that means. Okay. All right. So we have a nod also from Trumpy in terms of how he speaks to us, right, in code. And this was back in June, but it said he wrote, "Gold is the standard, but silver linings are pretty great too." Okay, so what we are waiting for is for the Federal Reserve to be restructured. And what we want Trump to do is to have Judy Shelton get on the board, okay? Because when that happens, she is a big proponent for having our dollar be backed by gold once again. So the short story of that is that we used to have our metals, our currency backed by gold. In fact, that's even what the word dollar means, is it has to refer to like a certain weight. And that was how our Constitution was structured. And then in 1913, as we all know, the Federal Reserve was born. In 1933, FDR comes in and he lies to the American people and he says, I'm forcing everybody to turn in their gold, and you're only allowed to keep, I think it was something like 5 ounces or whatever. And he raided one big wealthy family's estate to kind of be a warning to everyone else to turn in their gold. So all these people loved FDR. They trusted him because he was the president. They turned in their gold. And what did he do? He went around and he revalued gold, and the price shot up. So we just want to be careful about that happening again. Again, I don't think we're on that timeline, but should we be asked to turn in our metals, do not do it. And that's why you want to hold them on your person. So either in your house, we'll talk all about kind of where to store it and everything, but that's kind of what you want to do. So you don't want to hold it in a bank, and you don't want to do kind of like the whole ETF thing, which we'll talk about what that means as well. Okay, let's see. What else do I want to say here? All right, so the gold standard is kind of what we're looking for. Now, let me take a minute before we kind of go any further, and just in case you didn't know, I am back on Facebook. So this is my name here, Alexicus Longicus Dongicus. And big shout out to Dan for helping me get an account set up because he was out of state. And I started a Facebook group here as well. So you're welcome to kind of join this too, the second coming of Dongicus. He has risen, just because I am back on here, at least for the time being, and got to have some fun. So let's see. Another group you can check out for the newly awakened. This is really good for the folks who are just kind of newly waking up, as the name implies, that this is a great kind of go-to initial place because there are lots of tags here. So people can search different topics, and it's a great resource. So also Angel started a new group called Midnight Writers, and so you can look into that one too. Okay. Also, important information in terms of backup, right? Because Facebook could very much go down. And if that's the case, then our backup right now, I think, is going to be MeWe. So we're on CloutHub and lots of other places, but CloutHub is not internationally friendly. So MeWe just seems to be the most user-friendly and somewhat in comparison to Facebook. So here's my name. So you can look for me on there, MeWe.com/I/AlexBloom. And then, of course, we have a Meme Gods page as well. And here is the link up here. Okay, so come find us there. What else do I want to say? So also this December, we are going to have a meetup. And so I highly recommend, as many of you that are interested, please come. This is going to be absolutely off the chain. So we're meeting in Florida starting December 10th and going until the 14th. And this is going to be, let's see, in Treasure Island Beach, Florida. So Barry Everson is kind of putting this together, and he's calling it the Starseed Lightworker Beach Bash and 12/12 World Peace Meditation. So come check that out. We are staying at the Sunset Vistas Hotel, but wherever you stay, we're just going to kind of hang out and have a good time and celebrate the after effects of the election. So I know some of you are kind of worried about traveling post-election. So what I'm doing is for my airfare, I'm just buying some travel insurance. So worst case scenario, if I need to cancel, I can. But I think we're going to be okay here. So anyway, lots of fun in the sun. Also, a few more shameless plugs. If you haven't already, check out campdisclosure.com. So we are already kind of looking into having a second Camp Disclosure this coming summer, most likely, 2021. But if you want, tickets are still available for this one, and it's something ridiculously cheap, like $44. We had a lot of awesome speakers and content, and I gave a main stage presentation. What else? I gave a 3-hour workshop on the psychology of red pilling and how exactly to do that for people, using the Karen scale of different types of interactions based on levels of intensity from sleepers as you try to communicate with them, and how to do that in the specifics. So it was just a hoot. So we had a great time. Let's see, what else? Egypt is still a go. I just talked to my guide the other day, and we will be looking into having a trip put together for either March or April. We're not sure yet of the dates, but he's going to get an itinerary worked out, and it's going to be absolutely amazing. We're going to be able to go into the Sphinx enclosure, which less than 1% of people who go to Egypt are able to do, and go inside the Great Pyramid for 2 hours with just us. We can meditate. We can go inside the chamber there, go in the underground beneath the pyramid, and just kind of go all throughout 5 stars the country. So it's going to be amazing. Let's see, what else? So please subscribe if you haven't already to my YouTube channel. I have a lot of videos kind of queued up that I'm going to be adding here that I'm going to transfer onto my YouTube. So really excited about that. I have 924 subscribers right now, which is awesome. And what I'm trying to do is to get the user count up to 1,500. Because my understanding is that's the minimum that you need in order to go live on your phone. And when I go to Egypt, I want to do live videos there. So that's kind of why I'm pushing this at this time. So all of updates will be both on my YouTube channel as well as on my website, which is just dralexbloom.com. And you can click on here, and this will take you from the main page to upcoming information about Egypt. So I have a whole post that I will keep updated in terms of that, and some videos that I made about what the trip will entail. Also, if you're interested, I was on Corey Good's Accelerating Ascension this past January and had a really good time, and talked all about psychology, spirituality, specifically trauma, and how to work through that. And we talked for, good Lord, like 2 hours. And he's like, anything else you want to say? Anything else you want to say? And I'm like, yes, actually, yes. So just kept on going. And actually, this coming Saturday, I'm going to be part of his upcoming conference as well with some other big names. James Gilliland, Kate Awakening, Z, who's really awesome. If you haven't looked into her, definitely check out her YouTube channel. And she's just like angels singing from her mouth. She's just fantastic. Michael Sala, whole bunch of awesome people. And it's called 2020 Vision Conference, Clarity in the Chaos. So I'll be going live this next Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific. And you'll be able to ask questions in there. So it'll be like a Q&A, and I'm going to give a presentation kind of talking about spirituality and psychology and my whole jam. So I'm beyond stoked for this, and just this is information that starts to, is needing to get out to the masses. So really excited about that. And guess what? Best part is it's only $20, you guys, $20.20. So there's really no excuse not to check it out. Okay, so enough of that. Let's go back into investing. So how I first heard about this was through 2 channels. One was Pimpy, which I'll talk more about in depth in a minute, and the other is this dude here. And his name is Neil McCoy Ward. Awesome, awesome channel. Consider being a part of his Patreon, because he talks about like all of how he spends his money in terms of investing and some of the specifics with that and how that changes and whatnot. He is based in England, I believe. He was in the military, and then he went into being like a real estate mogul and made buco bucks. And so he's talking about an impending housing crash. And so be wary of that, because that could happen this coming, I think winter, spring-ish, something like that. Again, always very cautious with dates, but he does his homework extensively. He talks about that in one of his videos of his daily practice of what he does to get in touch with staying up to date with everything. And let's see, I watched a video of his, and I don't remember which one it was, but it was it might have been Ultimate Silver Investing. This one right here, Q&A, something like that. But it was on his channel, and anyway, it really struck me because here's this guy. He's worth like millions and millions of dollars, okay? And he took out like the vast majority of his entire portfolio, guys. We're talking all of his real estate, all of his stocks, everything else that he did, and he took out over half. I don't remember the exact percentage, but it really shocked me. It was something ridiculous, like 90%, something like that. And he invested it in silver. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? And why is this guy doing that? Like, why silver? And so it really struck me. And so I think it's one of these videos here that he talks all about his rationale and what he did. But he ended up buying, what was it? US silver dollars. And he bought Monster Box, which is like 500 rolls of these coins and boxes of coins. And he just said, I see the writing on the wall of what's happening. And so I'm wanting to invest in silver because if nothing else, I can make my money quick when the spot price of silver goes up. Spot price means like the going rate of silver. And so he just said, this is like basically an inevitable win in terms of making money. And he's already made his money back and then some just from when he started investing this spring because the price has gone up. So, So you want to check him out. He's got some really good stuff. Talks about housing and just kind of why he sold his real estate. And basically the gist is you want to buy metals now, maybe a little bit of crypto, but mostly silver. You can gold, but the problem with gold is that the price is so much higher for an entry point for gold. And what's most important now is that the percentage that the silver will go up will be exponentially more than gold, supposedly. And so because that's the case, that's why you can buy more silver now for a cheaper price. And then when it goes up, you're going to be making more money because of the percentage, if that makes sense. So don't pay attention to the actual amount. Like silver right now is about like $2,000 an ounce. Well, guess what? Or I'm sorry, gold is $2,000 an ounce. Guess what silver is right now? Like 24. Okay, 24 versus 2,000. And if you know that the percentage of silver is also going to go up, there's even talk that the price of silver could outbeat gold at some point because there's more utilitarian purposes, like I was mentioning earlier, of how it being involved in all these different items that are being manufactured. Okay, so that's why everybody's investing into silver, but gold is a good way to go as well. Okay, so that's kind of him and how I got started initially. Okay, and then from there, by the way, here's another good channel. This is called Palisade Radio, and just really good investment talk and talking about all these different ways in which to invest and what that looks like. So here is Lynette Zang, for example, and she's like the gold goddess. Just she knows everything in terms of precious metals, and she's just a guru in that field. So I have a lot of respect for her. Anyway, so I just wanted to put this up here as a great channel if you're wanting to learn more about that. Okay, and then I learned about this dude here. His name is Pimpy. He's been on Charlie Ward, Santa Surfing, just a big name in this field. He's just growing exponentially, and good for him. So a little bit about his background. I'd love to have him actually come to camp and talk, just because he's such a wealth of information, just very credible but authentic dude. So he used to work for Harry Reid's campaign as a strategist, the Democratic, I believe he's a senator from California. So he knows all about the Democrats. He used to party with the Hollywood, and he just had connections. I think he was a club promoter or something like that. So he kind of knew all about some of the nefarious things going on in Hollywood. Never got kind of roped up in the really bad stuff, but knew enough to kind of like stay away. He's been like a truther for decades, and just extremely knowledgeable about Hollywood, about politics and everything that's going on there, but especially about metals and silver And so it was him, one of his videos that he did on this, and then that Neil guy that really got me kind of interested in learning about this. So I highly recommend subscribing to his channel. Can't recommend that enough. And again, he's got like just the extent of what he talks about here is just so cool. So I listen to him every day. And, it's one of those things, my experience is that people either love him or hate him. So some people can't stand his voice or don't find him as articulate as they do with others. And so they are kind of turned off by him. And that's totally cool. But for me, it's all about the content. And so I really appreciate what he has to share. So he's now doing a series on kind of more about Hollywood with movies and everything as well. He's got 2 different channels. I'll go into that in a minute. But he has a whole section that he does on Nasara and Jasara, and I'll talk about that later on today as well. So that's really good, especially for his Q&A. I wish he would label his videos a little bit differently, but he does a lot of Q&A videos where he goes into a lot of different rabbit holes kind of during those videos. So don't be turned off by the name of those, because it just will say like Nasara Q&A, but he goes into a lot of content there. And then he has a whole playlist also devoted just to gold and silver videos. So highly recommend those. Let's see. Yep. So here is his kind of gold and silver playlist. And yeah, just trying to think if there's anything else here that I want to share. Okay. All right. Yep. Talked about that. So again, he goes into a lot of different things here. So I love listening to the Q&As. They're a little longer. They're anywhere between usually half hour to an hour or so. But he covers lots of things between politics and truth or stuff. And he did one the other day on clones, for example, and just an absolute wealth of information. So love that guy. Okay, now this was probably one of my favorites. So I just wanted to bring this up here just to show you. And I'll get back to silver in a minute here, but I'm just kind of weaving in some important things. So this one was absolutely fascinating. So I will add this into the description box, but he talks about going deeper than just law of attraction stuff, but kind of like some of the things that we know, but vibration and frequency and manifestation and all those kind of fun things. But this video in particular just blew my mind. He talks about like the history of the Democratic Party and how slavery was actually encouraged in the South by an African American who legally fought to keep slavery around, and the history of the Confederate, like the true history of the Confederate flag, and why we went into a civil war in the first place. And it just he went on all these different rabbit holes of Bush and music frequencies and how that affects us. And I knew about almost everything that he talked about, but not in the depth that he shared. And that's what I appreciate about these Q&A videos, is there's just little nuggets here and there. It's like the nuances, and it's like, whoa, that's fascinating. I didn't know about that. So can't recommend these enough, as well as kind of this particular one. So that's kind of why I have that one up here. Let's see what else. So if you're wanting to buy gold and silver, we'll talk about specific websites, but that are kind of more for the US, I believe. But if you're wanting to go international, here are some different sites that I'll just leave up here, and you can take, a screenshot or whatever if you want. If you're in the UK, Australia, Toronto, Canada, Ireland, then you can kind of check those out. You can also go to moneymetals.com, and if you use his promo code called Pimpy, then the first time you buy there, you get a free ½ ounce of silver. So that's pretty cool. I don't mind Money Metals. I've bought from them before. They don't have the best prices per se, but I did it, if nothing else, just as like a thank you to him. That I think it's, what is it? If you spend more than $100, then you get, and you use that code, then you get a free ½ ounce of silver. So I wanted to give him kind of a shout out that way. Okay, so here are some other sites that we'll go over, just kind of more for my international friends here. So if you're wanting to buy crypto, so I actually used this link when I bought some crypto, just because you got, I think this was the link, you got like a free $10 or something. And so I'm like, well, why not? So I'm pretty sure that was what I used, but Coinbase is where you want to buy your crypto from. And again, Margaret and I will go into more depth about that. So here is another link, bullionbuypost.co.uk, and you can buy gold and silver that way. We will also talk about global currencies and whatnot, just international currencies, and how you, can buy some. But ukdinarfx.com apparently is another website for international purposes. Okay, this is Pimpy's backup channel, The Hidden Things in Front of Your Eyes, and just wanted to briefly let you know about that because it's a smaller channel, but he's just got a really lot of good information that he puts out, and so didn't want to not share that with you. Okay, what else? So this particular one, this came out, I believe it was Friday night, and this is kind of what spurred me to do this video now, just because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Okay, but tomorrow's Monday, so the markets are going to open again, and he is saying that the reset is going to happen this weekend. So the reset could mean a lot of different things, but my understanding is partly what's going to happen is if or when the reset occurs, that you're going to see a crash in the stock market, and then that will be the incentive to have the currencies kind of go into effect, of everything be backed by gold. That's one theory of what the reset means. Another theory is that it's going to be kind of somewhat related to what I just said, but it won't be where all the currencies become gold backed. So, if you want to learn more about that, I don't want to spend too much time because there's a lot of other content I want to get to, but you can watch his reaction video about this here. So I found this very worthwhile, and that kind of put the bug in my bonnet to finally kind of make this video that I've been wanting to do for a while anyway, because I've been getting so many questions about silver in particular. So highly recommend watching this, okay? And then it's his reaction video, but he does good commentary, and that is based on this video here called The Big Bang Reset. And so I haven't had a chance to watch this all yet, but I really want to. I might later tonight. I will put this in the description box as well. Again, I really trust what Lynette has to say. She's extremely knowledgeable, and she's basically saying that we might have another crash as of tomorrow from all the different variables that she's looking at. So I don't know if it's going to be as big as the 1929 crash or the 1987 Black Monday crash, but we are 33 years to the day tomorrow for this to happen, and we all know about symbology in 33. So anyway, just food for thought. Food for thought. So if I were you and I hadn't bought any silver, I would get on it tonight. So I'm not saying that to put fear in you or to force you to do anything, obviously, since I can't tell you what to do, but just recommend wanting to get on it sooner rather than later. So again, if it were me, I would buy some tonight. And by some, I mean like the price is so good right now for spot price, you guys, that just don't delay, okay, please. Okay, so Pimpy also has a Facebook page, a Facebook group that has really good information. Pimpy's Investment Chat is what it's called. So just wanted to bring that to your attention as well. And I'm friends with him on Facebook, and I've talked to him a little bit on Twitter, and he's just a really cool guy. Okay, so the next rationale here is this is what's called the U.S. Debt Clock, and it's usdebtclock.org. This is supposedly the most true and accurate depiction of the real values of different things as it relates to debt. So what I really want to pay attention to right now is here where they talk about gold and silver. Okay, so supposedly, the true ratio of the dollar to the silver is $4,219 per ounce. Okay, so think about that and what that might mean should we go back to a gold standard and gold gets tied again to the dollar. My understanding is that they're going to change the new currency, and it won't be called a US dollar anymore. It'll just be called a US note, but it will be backed by gold. Okay, so if it gets backed by gold, what do you think is going to happen to silver? It's going to shoot up, like I mentioned earlier. Okay, so if it's 4,000, let's see, Where's gold? $32,127 per ounce for gold. Okay. And it's like what, 2000 now, 1900 and something. Okay. Think about the percentage of your investment if you had bought gold at 1900, like what it is now, and it shoots up to $32,000. Now, we're not saying that's going to happen overnight. It could take several years to get there, but think about what that means long-term investment-wise, okay? So this is why I am making this video and why I'm investing in silver and why I'm telling all of you to do so ASAP, okay? Because of this. So again, silver right now is like $24 or so, 24 and change, okay? Think about an investment that was $24,000 per ounce and goes up to $4,219 per ounce, okay? If you have a decent amount of silver, think about what that's going to mean long term. And that's, I mean, we're talking like crazy amounts of wealth. This is and I hear all these people, okay? So again, I've been following this for months, all right? And the amount of chatter that's going on by not just those in the truther community, but those in just like the main public sector in the financial world, all of them are saying silver. All of them who are being at least honest and are out of the stock market and don't have incentive to not tell you the truth. But all of those who are being real with you are saying silver, silver, silver. Okay. So even if it doesn't go up exactly to this amount or it goes up more than that, that's just insane. So what I've heard other prices between $300 and $700 for silver per ounce in the next, I don't know, maybe a couple of years or so. Some people are saying $10,000 for gold. Again, here it says $32,000, but Trump was recently asked about if the gold would be backed by our currency again, or vice versa. Like, what would the ratio be? And they said, you know, would you guesstimate something like $10,000? And he goes, $10,000? Shoot, why not $100,000? This is Trump saying this supposedly. So, big freaking deal. Okay. Let's see. What else do I want to say on this last tab? All right. So so Yahoo Finance is a good source to go to for just kind of keeping track of the markets and everything. Here is the price fluctuation for silver starting in 2000, 2001. So it kind of slowly, steadily went up. And then when we had the crash, it went up for a little bit and then it went down. And so this is, here's one other thing that we want to pay attention to, okay? And that is JP Morgan and all these kind of big name people who house a lot of different metals, silver in particular and gold, okay, that they lie to us about how much metal they have, first of all, and that's why you want to stay away from ETFs, which I'll talk about later. So they don't give us an accurate number, and they are lying to us about the real value, the cost. Okay, they temporarily are pushing down, like that beach ball metaphor I gave earlier, in terms of the actual values. Why? So that they can buy more. So once the price goes up and they can't lie anymore, then all of us who hold these metals, then we'll see the value go up, okay? So that's the main reason behind all of this. So it did spike or so in 2011, and then more recently what we saw this year, let me kind of zoom in here. Okay, so earlier this year, okay, when the Rona hit in March or so, it crashed to, what was it, $12. Imagine if you got in at $12, and then at the peak here of 28.29, which is unfortunately when I bought some. This was in early August. Okay, think about that. If you bought some at $12 and then it went to 28, that's more than double of your initial investment. Okay, and again, you hold the tangible asset. Don't sell right now. That's something else I'll talk about later. Like, do not sell, in my opinion, if the price were to continue going down for whatever reason, okay? That's just your rationale to buy more, okay? That's the main motto behind investing, right? With stock market or anything else, buy low and sell high. In this case, you do not want to sell because over the next little while, the price is going to skyrocket. So what these cabal people do is they call it shaking the speculators. And so what they do is when they see the price going up as more people are buying, they're like, oh crap, we've got to try to get these people who are just kind of dipping their toe into the water, called speculators. We want to give them cold feet so that they will sell. So they will manipulate the markets for the price to go down, and that will scare the noobs into actually selling the silver, and then they go, whew, it's back to where we want it to be. Okay, but what we're seeing now is that that's not working anymore. People are waking up. They're listening to Pimpy and all these other people, and they're like, no, I'm not going to sell right now. You can't trick me anymore. And so it's causing them to freak out. So pretty soon here, we're going to see the price just continuing to skyrocket. So don't time the market, please. What does that mean? That means try to predict when the price is going to go up or down and then buy accordingly. Okay, it's at 24 something now. We have no idea, since we don't have a crystal ball, what the future holds. But I do not see it going down, if anything, by that much anytime soon. Okay, if at all. I mean, maybe we've got a couple weeks left max, in my opinion, of it going down or staying around the same, of around 24 or so. But even if you were to have already bought some, like I did when it was like 28, 29, don't kick yourself. Even though that's what, $4 or so per ounce. Okay, think about the potential of where it's going to. And that's why I'm saying get on it now. All right, so I'm going to pause the video here, and then I'm going to make a part 2 because I don't want this to go too long in one particular video, and then we'll move into the actual meat in terms of where to buy and what all that looks like. Okay, so I will see you soon.